So Megan Thee Stallion has been in the headlines this past week or so-ish over record label issues. Once again, we're seeing another artist who's fairly popular having problems with their record label and issues with contracts and all of the minor details that give you the rights to having your own music, releasing your own music, all that kind of stuff. It's all very complex. I don't really ever pay attention to those types of things when it comes to music, but it's actually very important to be aware of it because a lot of artists have the potential to be screwed over. We've heard what happened with Taylor Swift and how she ended up having problems with the ownership of her own music, which is actually kind of crazy when you think about how an artist can potentially lose the ownership of their own music. You just wouldn't think of it as being a thing, but it absolutely is. This is why you gotta be very careful, especially when you're young. And it seems to be always the young artists or the artists signing contracts years ago when they were young and agreeing to things that they really shouldn't have and things like that. This is why you gotta be very careful. If you're an artist up and coming and you're independent and you're getting record labels coming at you left, right and centre, wanting you on their label, be wary of what you're agreeing to, please, just please. And I think the dispute was settled anyway with Megan because of course we got an EP pretty much out of nowhere. This EP came out, so it must be that she managed to sort out any issues that she had, or unless she broke away from the label, I don't really know. I don't pay attention to her that much, to be honest. So we got this Suga EP, which is apparently from the perspective of an alter ego, a character that Megan has created here named Suga. And so with that in mind, you'd maybe think, oh, this EP is probably going to be different then. She's going to be rapping about different things. She's maybe going to be rapping slightly differently. Maybe the topics are going to be very different for her, and you'd be wrong because they are not. It's kind of disappointing, really, to find out that this Sugar is a different character, and you're really not getting that much difference in anything that we've gotten from her in the past. But to be honest, I've not been as hyped for Megan up until this point anyway, and I know a lot of people have been loving her, so I feel like if you've been loving what she's done, then you'll be absolutely fine with this EP. But for someone like me who thought Fever was pretty good, but Megan definitely had more potential than she was showing us on that project, going to this is actually really disappointing because it's honestly just not very enjoyable to my ears at all. What makes releases like this worse is when, like, you know, we've only just had the last album or the last project not that long ago, and there's been quite a few numerous singles in between, and then you get a new project thinking, okay, well, what's this one going to bring? And it kind of just brings the same thing that we've gotten before. So it's like, I just want artists to take a break. I just want a year gap, a 2-year gap between projects, between singles. Is that too much to ask? She's just falling into the stereotypical pattern of an artist getting really popular and then suddenly being like, okay, well, I'm rich now, so I'm going to tell everyone about how rich I am. Okay, I've got haters now, so I'm going to address those haters and, you know, tell people that, you know, I shouldn't be messed with. I'm a bad bitch, I'm a boss-ass bitch, I'm sassy, I'm classy, I'm bougie. And it's just boring listening to people tell you how good they are. Like, who wants to listen to that? Even from a male rapper's perspective, it's always a bit of a buzzkill to just listen to a rapper rap over an entire project telling you how good they are. So it's not even like a gendered thing, because I know a lot of debates on Twitter and stuff that I see about Megan Thee Stallion is always about gender, and it's like, no, she's just not rapping about anything worth listening to. Awful references to sex on Captain Hook. Seriously, some of these lyrics are just like, what? Like, what? Is this sexy? Do people want to hear this? Like, this is the fucking Captain Hook line, mate. You wrote that? Slurp me like an icy. Like, come on, man. Come on. The track BITCH is pretty redundant to me just because of the hook. I don't know if Megan really has enough variation in her voice to sell hooks like this, because she doesn't really change up when the chorus comes around. She's just singing in the same tone of voice, and it doesn't really differentiate the verses and the choruses, so everything kind of blurs into one, really. But to add to that as well, the lyrics are just really boring to me, just talking about how this person needs to like treat her right, or he'll end up having to leave and be with other girls who are nowhere near as good as Megan, because obviously she has to tell you that on every song. I suppose Hit My Phone is a slightly different track from what I was expecting, with that G-Funk West Coast hip hop vibe to it, which I thought was kind of cool. Kalani's hook is fine, but then when it comes around the second time, it fades out and the song ends. It's such a short song. I have no idea why you would execute a track like this so lazily. Like, extend it out. Why? You can hit 3 minutes in a song, you know, it's not crime. I suppose on the other hand, I'm not too bothered that a track like Rich doesn't go on any longer, because it is just, again, like I've already mentioned, bragging for the sake of bragging, because she has the power to do so. There is one funny line to me though on the track where she's like, I'm a boss bitch, I don't need help, I'm gonna tell him to buy it, but I can get it myself. I just find that line so funny for some reason, because it's like, you do this for me, but I can do it anyway. I can do it for myself. Like, but I'm going to tell you to do it. But I'm independent enough to do it myself. But you're going to do it. It's like she has to make sure you know, like, no, I've got the power. I can do this myself. But he's going to do it for me. But I can do it myself. The final two tracks are really poorly sung R&B tracks that are just slathered in autotune. The amount of autotune put on her voice here. I mean, I guess she probably couldn't pull off the singing that well if she didn't have the auto-tune, but they just sound really ugly to me. I don't want to listen to that much auto-tune. And especially when Kalani came on a previous track, you could have got a different R&B singer to sing on these tracks. If, you know, if you wanted to go down this direction, maybe utilize features. I don't really know. It just got to this point anyway that I was just like, yeah, I'm not enjoying this, so what's the point? So yeah, I think it's disappointing for me to see Megan just drop some tracks that really don't offer that much to think about, really. I'm not saying that every track needs to be deep lyrically. I'm not saying that every track needs to be, you know, introspective, big brain, think about things, but when you do so many tracks that are sounding the same, like these tracks don't really sound that different, honestly, for the most part. Compared to what she's already done, it just gets a bit boring and tiring. It's funny because she came up at a similar time as DaBaby. Their rise was quite similar. They got massive hits quite quickly. You know, they were both on the same XXL freshman list, and yet they both seem to have fallen into a trap of dropping songs that don't offer any differentiation to previous songs, and they're dropping songs at such a rapid rate that it's getting boring really quickly. I don't see why you couldn't just wait a little while to drop a new project, but at the same time, they're probably both hung up on the idea of, no, we gotta remain in the limelight and keep the hype going, which is absolutely fine for fans, but for me, I'm just not really feeling this. And I'd be interested to see what Megan fans think, though. If any of you are really big into her music, how do you feel about this EP? Is this actually better than I'm giving it credit for, or do you agree with me? Let me know in the comments, that'd be great. Thank you for watching my review. Hopefully you enjoyed what I had to say. Have a good day. Subscribe if you haven't already. And yeah, goodbye.